Social Security disability judges expect work capacity or work function information in your medical records at your disability hearings. I'm Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm a Social Security disability attorney. And today I'd like to talk to you about a trend that I'm noticing at disability hearings, and that is that judges are less inclined to issue a decision or to approve cases if there's no information in your medical record about work capacity. And I get a lot of comments on the YouTube channel from people that will write me and say, Jonathan, I have spinal stenosis, I've got spondylosis, I have torn patella, I have kidney dysfunction, kidney enzyme dysfunction, I have diabetes, I have multiple sclerosis. Do you think I have a winning case? And I always respond the same way, and that is, you obviously have a significant medical problem, but the issue in your disability case is not the diagnosis. It's not what you've been diagnosed with. The question is, how does your medical problem and how do the medications you take and any other problem associated with your medical issue, how does that impact your capacity for work? Because Social Security defines disability in terms of how your medical issues impact your reliability at work. Would you be able to get through an 8-hour day, 5 days a week, ongoing? That is the only issue. So the diagnosis doesn't tell us that. So I'll give you an example of what happened to me at a recent hearing. I had a client who had been in the military. He goes to the Veterans Administration, the VA hospital, for all of his medical care. And the VA records basically have a lot of information about his complaints. They have a diagnosis and they have a list of medications, but they are silent as to his work capacity limitations or any sort of functional limitations. And VA records are always frustrating in this regard because, first of all, they're voluminous. If you go to the VA, it's typical that the record may be 300 or 400 pages or more. If you go on a particular day, let's say you went March 25th, well, if you've been 6 months before, that March 25th record will contain a copy of every record before then. So if you've been 6 months before then, the March 25th record will contain the 6 months before as well as March 25. And the next record will contain 7 additional records. So it's a lot of duplication. I don't really understand why they do it that way, but that's what they do. And they don't talk at all about work capacity limitations. And VA doctors will generally not fill out functional capacity evaluations. Very, very frustrating. So in this case, my client has both physical and mental health issues. And so we have in the VA records that he had been there and he had multiple complaints. And a lot of times they don't even talk about the complaints in terms of which one's the most serious. They just list them, the medications he's on, and they talk a lot about the mental health therapy. That seems to be a big focus, the PTSD and so forth. But it was really silent as to any work capacity limitations. So the judge is talking to him, and she says, and she was very frank, she says, you know, I see what's happened to you. I see you've got all these issues, both physical and mental, and I don't doubt for a minute that these things are real and they happen to you. The problem is there's nothing in your record that talks to me and tells me about how this would affect your capacity to sit or stand or lift or carry or use your left arm or use your right arm. Has nothing in there about how your mental health problems impact your focus and concentration, persistence and pace, emotional stability, none of that. So I can't make a decision based on this record, despite the fact the record was, 6 inches tall. So she sent him out for a consultative evaluation with both a physical doctor as well as with a psychiatrist, which is great. It's just going to delay things, of course, and we don't know, of course, what those doctors are going to say, but it's better than getting a denial. So again, what I'm finding is that if you go to a place like the VA where they don't really talk about work capacity limitations, then it's probably worthwhile to go to a private doctor and get an evaluation, get a functional capacity evaluation, because that's what the judges are going to need. They're demanding that now. And if you don't, you run the risk that the judge is going to say, well, the evidence is not there, I have nothing to base this on, therefore I'm going to deny it, or they send you out to a consultative conservative doctor who doesn't believe in the concept of disability, and we have no control over that. So if you want to have control over what's going to happen, then again, you need to seek your own medical care, your own doctor, somebody who will do a functional capacity evaluation. Obviously, for me, the best resource I can have is a completed functional capacity evaluation. And what I do in my practice is I will go through the record. I will take a standard functional capacity form, be it physical or mental, and I'll customize it to include issues that are unique to my client, and then I get it to the doctor. I also add to the official form questions about reliability, days missed at work, hours missed at work, things like that, things that I know the judge is going to want. And then I get it to the doctor, ask the doctor to fill it out. We submit that. That gives the judge what the judge needs to make a decision, hopefully a favorable decision, in my client's case. If I can't get that, what I tell my clients to do is when you go to the doctor, talk to the doctor about specific activity limitations using measurements. So if you're having trouble lifting, say to the doctor, I've tried to lift something and after 8 pounds, which is a gallon of milk, my back starts to go into terrible spasm. You want to get into your record specific information about the limitations that you have. If you have crying spells, doctor, I have crying spells every other day. It lasts for 30 or 40 minutes. It can be triggered by a sight, a smell, a TV show. It can be triggered by nothing at all. I get very, very down. I start thinking about some of the things in my past, some of the things that I saw, and I can't help but burst out in tears. I've isolated myself. I don't like to do anything. I don't like to be around other people because this is so embarrassing that this would happen. Get that sort of thing in the record. Those are functional problems that would impact and affect you at work. That is what we need in a disability case. So that is what I'm telling my clients to do. I'm telling you to do the same thing because you want to get those things in there that the judge needs. And again, what I'm finding now is that judges are really, really focusing on functional capacity issues, and they're looking for that in the medical record. If they don't have it, they don't find it, they're going to either turn you down, or at best they're going to send you out, delay the case for another evaluation. And believe me, not every judge is willing to do that because they're under a lot of pressure to turn cases over. It costs the agency money. Again, a good judge who really senses there's something here will do it. But even good judges won't do it if they don't think that there's enough there to justify the cost to Social Security. So that's what I'm telling my clients. I think that if you really focus on functional capacity, your chances of winning definitely go way up.